Welcome back. Alright, so let's get right into it. The Max Brooks, The Zombie Survival Guide, Complete Protection from the Living Dead. This is a wonderful book. We're going to catch up from where we left off, which I believe was the behavioural patterns. So this is talking in regards to your basic zombies, or the reanimated dead. It has been proven time and again that our greatest advantage over the undead is our ability to think. The mental capacity of the average zombie ranks somewhere beneath that of an insect. On no occasion have they shown any ability to reason or employ logic. Attempting to accomplish a task, failing, then by trial and error discovering a new solution is a skill shared by many members of the animal kingdom, but lost on the Walking Dead. Zombies have repeatedly failed laboratory intelligence tests set at the level of rodents. One field case showed a human standing at one end of a collapsed bridge with several dozen zombies on the other side. One by one, the Walking Dead tumbled over the edge of in a futile attempt to reach him. At no time did any of them realize what was happening and change their tactics in any way. Contrary to myth and speculation, zombies have never been observed using tools of any kind. Even picking up a rock to use as a weapon is beyond their grasp. This simple task would prove the basic thought process involved in realizing that the rock is a more efficient weapon than the naked hand. Ironically, the age of artificial intelligence has enabled us to identify more easily with the mind of the zombie than that of our more primitive ancestors. With rare exceptions, even the most advanced computers do not have the ability to think on their own. They do what they are programmed to do, nothing more. Imagine a computer programmed to execute one function. This function cannot be paused, modified, or erased. No new data can be stored. No new commands can be installed. This computer will perform that one function over and over until its power source eventually shuts down. This is the zombie brain, an instinct-driven unitask machine that is impervious, yes, to tampering and can only be destroyed. So, gives you a bit of an idea of the machine that you're facing up against. Emotions. Feelings of any kind are not known to the Walking Dead. Every form of psychological warfare, from attempts at enraging the undead to provoking pity, have all met with disaster. Joy, sadness, confidence, anxiety, love, hatred, fear, all of these feelings and thousands more that make up the human heart are as useless to the living dead as the organ of the same name. Who knows if this is humanity's greatest weakness or strength? The debate continues, and probably will forever. Memories. A modern conceit is that a zombie retains the knowledge of its former life. We hear stories of the dead returning to their places of residency or work, operating familiar machinery. I can't imagine that's more than just a pull of a lever or something like that. Or even showing acts of mercy to loved ones. In truth, not a shred of proof exists to support this wishful thinking. Zombies could not possibly retain memories of their former lives in either the conscious or subconscious mind, because neither exist. A ghoul will not be distracted by the family pet, living relatives, familiar surroundings, etc. No matter who a person was in his former life, that person is gone, replaced by a mindless automaton with no instinct other than for feeding. This begs the question, why do zombies prefer urban areas to the countryside? First, the undead do not prefer cities, but simply remain where they are reanimated. Second, the main reason zombies tend to stay in the cities instead of fanning out into the countryside is because an urban zone holds the highest concentration of prey. I mean, that makes sense. You could see that coming from a mile away. Physical needs. Other than hunger, discussed later, the dead have shown none of the physical wants or needs expressed in mortal life. Zombies have never been observed to sleep or rest under any circumstances. They have not reacted to extreme heat nor cold. In harsh weather they have never sought shelter. Even something as simple as thirst is unknown to the living dead. Defying all laws of science, Selenium has created what could be described as a completely self-sufficient organism. Communication. Zombies have no language skills. Although their vocal cords are capable of speech, their brain is not. The only vocal ability appears to be a deep-throated moan, kind of like that. This moan is released when the zombies identify prey. The sound will remain low and steady until physical contact is made. It will then shift in tone and volume as the zombie commences its attack. This eerie sound, so typically associated with The Walking Dead, serves as a rallying cry for other zombies, and as has been recently discovered, is a potent psychological weapon. See on Defenses page 74. Social dynamics. Theories have always proliferated that the undead function as a collective force, from an army controlled by Satan to an insect-like pheromone-driven hive, to the most recent notion that they achieve group consensus by telepathy. The truth is that zombies have no social organization to speak of. There is no hierarchy, no chain of command, no drive toward any type of collectivization. A horde of the undead, regardless of size, regardless of appearance, is simply a mass of individuals. If several hundred ghouls converge on a victim's location, it is because each one is drawn by its own instinct. Zombies appear to be unaware of one another. Individuals have never been observed to react to the sight of one another at any range. This goes back to the question of sense. How does a zombie distinguish between one of its own and a human or other prey at the same range? The answer has yet to be found. Zombies do avoid one another in the same way that they avoid inanimate objects. When they bump into one another, they make no attempt to connect or communicate. Zombies feasting on the same corpse will tug repeatedly on the meat in question rather than shove a competitor out of the way. The only suggestion of communal effort is seen in notorious swarm attacks, the moan of a ghoul calling others within earshot. Once they hear the wail, other Walking Dead will almost always converge on its source. An early study theorized that this was a deliberate act, that a scout used its moan to signal the others to attack. However, we know that it happens purely by accident. The ghoul that moans at the detection of prey does so as an instinctive reaction, not as an alert. Things to think about there. Hunting. Zombies are migratory organisms, with no regard for territory or concept of home. They will travel miles and perhaps, given the time, cross continents in search for food. Their hunting pattern is random. Ghouls will feed at night and during the day. They will stumble through an area rather than deliberately searching it. Certain zones or structures will not be singled out as more likely to contain prey. For example, some have been known to search farmhouses and other rural structures, while others in the same group have moved by without even a glance. Urban zones take more time to explore, which is why the undead remain longer in these areas, but no building will take precedence over another. Zombies appear to be totally unaware of their surroundings. They do not, for example, move their eyes in a way that would take in the information of a new setting. Shuffling silently with a 1,000-yard stare, they will wander aimlessly, regardless of the location, until prey is detected. As discussed earlier, the undead possess an uncanny ability to home in on a victim's precise location. Once contact is made, the previously silent, oblivious automaton transforms into something more closely related to a guided missile. The head turns immediately in the direction of its victim, the jaw drops, lips retract, and from the depths of its diaphragm comes the moan. Something like that. That's my zombie interpretation. Once contact is made, zombies cannot be distracted by any means. They will continue to pursue their prey, stopping only if they lose contact, make a successful kill, or are destroyed. More things to think about, considering the literature that has come out, movies, above all else, and whatever else have you. There's a lot of contradictions to this, but I feel this is very straightforward and very deliberate. Motivation. Why do the undead prey upon the living? It has been proven that human flesh serves no nutritional purpose. Why does their instinct drive them to murder? The truth eludes us. Modern science, combined with historical data, has shown that living humans are not only delights on the undead menu. Rescue teams entering an infested area have consistently reported them stripped of all life. Any creatures, no matter what their size or species, will be consumed by an attacking zombie. Human flesh, however, will always be preferable to the other life forms. One experiment presented a captured specimen with two identical cubes of meat, one human, one animal. The zombie repeatedly chose the human. Reasons for this are still unknown. What can be confirmed beyond any shadow of a doubt is that instinct, brought on by Solanum, drives the undead to kill and devour any living creature they discover. There appear to be no exceptions. Killing the dead. While destroying a zombie may be simple, it is far from easy. As we have seen, zombies require none of the physiological functions that humans need to survive. Destruction or severe damage to the circulatory, digestive, respiratory system would do nothing to a member of the Walking Dead, as these functions no longer support the brain. Simply put, there are thousands of ways to kill a human and only one to kill a zombie. The brain must be obliterated by any means possible. It's a lot harder than you think, believe it or not. I don't say that from an experience of my own doing, but rather from experience of a learned hand. Disposal. Studies have shown that Solanum can still inhabit the body of a terminated zombie for up to 48 hours. Exercise extreme care when disposing of undead corpses. The head in particular possesses the most serious hazard, given it is a concentration of the virus. Never handle an undead corpse without protective clothing. Treat it as you would any toxic, highly lethal material. Cremation is the safest, most effective way of disposal. Despite rumours that a pile of burning corpses will spread the Solanum in a cloud of smoking plague, common sense would dictate that the virus is unable to survive intense heat, to say nothing of an open flame. Domestication. To reiterate, the zombie's brain has proven so far to be tamper-proof. Experiments ranging from chemicals to surgery to electromagnetic waves have yielded negative results. Behavioral modification therapy and such other attempts to train the living dead, like some kind of pack animal, have similarly met with failure. Again, the machine cannot be rewired. It will exist as is, or it will not exist at all. Interesting. Alright. So, let's move on to the voodoo zombie. If zombies are the creation of a virus and not black magic, then how does this explain the so-called voodoo zombies? A person who has died, been raised from his grave, and is doomed to spend eternity as a slave of the living. Yes, it is true that the word zombie originally comes from the Kimbundu word nzumbi, a term describing a dead person's soul, and yes, zombies and zombification are integral parts of the Afro-Caribbean religion known as voodoo. However, the origin of their name is the only similarity between the voodoo zombie and the viral zombie. Although it is said that the voodoo Hoongans, priests, I don't believe I pronounced that right, can turn humans into zombies by magical means, the practice is rooted in hard, undeniable science. Zombie powder, the tool used by the Hoongan for zombification, contains a very powerful neurotoxin. The extract ingredients are a closely guarded secret. The toxin temporarily paralyzes the human nervous system, creating a state of extreme hibernation, with the heart, lungs, and all other bodily functions operating at minimal levels. It would be understandable if an inexperienced coroner declared the paralyzed subject to be dead. Many humans have been buried while in such a state, only to awaken screaming in the pitch darkness of their coffin. What a horrible, horrible thing to wake up to. I don't know if you have a plan for that. I don't ever intend to have it happen, but, well, I have read How to Escape. Don't know if it'll work. Don't want to try. So what makes this living human being a zombie? The answer is simple. Brain damage. Oh, it is simple. Many who are buried alive quickly use the air inside the coffins. Those that are recovered, if they are lucky, almost always suffer brain damage from lack of oxygen. These poor souls shamble about with little cognitive skills, or indeed free will, and are often mistaken for the living dead. How can you distinguish a voodoo zombie from the genuine article? The telltale signs are obvious. Well, I would hope so. There's some form of decay, I believe. Let's have a look. Number 1. Voodoo zombies show emotion. People suffering from the zombie powder-induced brain damage are still capable of normal human feelings. They smile, cry, even growl with anger if hurt, otherwise provoked. Something real zombies would never do. Voodoo zombies exhibit thought. As has been stated before, when a real zombie encounters you, it will immediately home in like a smart bomb. A voodoo zombie will take a moment to try and figure out who or what you are. Maybe it will come toward you. Maybe it will recoil. Maybe it will continue its observation as its damaged brain attempts to analyze the information given to it. What a voodoo zombie will not do is raise its arms, drop its jaw, unleash a hellish moan, and stumble directly toward you. Number 3. Voodoo zombies feel pain. A voodoo zombie that trips and falls will undoubtedly hold its bruised knee and whimper. Likewise, other already suffering from some other wound will nurse it, or at the very least be aware of the wound's existence. Voodoo zombies will not ignore deep gashes in their bodies like a real zombie would. That almost went the opposite way to what I thought. Voodoo zombies recognize fire. There is not to say that they are afraid of open flames. It's different to what I thought. I thought they couldn't go near flames or be hit by flames. But that could just be some movie superstition from some time ago. This is not to say that they are afraid of open flames. Some that have suffered severe brain damage may not remember what fire is. They will stop to examine it, perhaps even reach out to touch it, but they will recoil once they realize it causes pain. Voodoo zombies recognize their surroundings. Unlike real zombies, who only recognize prey, voodoo zombies will react to sudden changes in light, sound, taste, and smell. Voodoo zombies have been observed watching television or brightly flashing lights, listening to music, cringing at thunder, and even taking notice of one another. This last fact has been critical in several cases of misidentification. Had the zombies in question not reacted to each other, they looked at each other, made noises, even touched each other's faces, they might have been accidentally exterminated. I would feel quite bad if that were me. Voodoo zombies do not have hypersense. A human who has suffered the debilitating effects of zombie powder is still a sight-dependent human. They cannot operate perfectly in the dark, hear a footstep at 500 yards, or smell a living being on the wind. Voodoo zombies can actually be surprised by someone walking up behind them. This is not recommended, however, as a frightened zombie may react in anger. Is it safe to call them zombies at this point? I'm wondering whether or not the voodoo zombies will attempt to bite people, dismember limbs, things like that. It's a bit strange. I hope it explains that in a second. Voodoo zombies can communicate. While this is not always the case, many of these individuals can respond to audio-visual signs. Many understand words. Some even comprehend simple sentences. Many voodoo zombies possess the ability to speak, simply, of course, and rarely for extended conversations. No reasoning, or very hard, I suppose. Voodoo zombies can be controlled. While not always true, many brain-damaged humans have lost much of their self-realization, making them very susceptible to suggestion. Simply shouting for a subject to halt or even go away can be enough to get rid of a voodoo zombie. This has created the dangerous situation of confused people believing they could control or train true zombies. Several times headstrong humans have insisted they could simply command their living dead attacker to stop. As cold, rotting hands grabbed their limbs and dirty, worn teeth bit into their flesh, these people discovered too late that what they were truly dealing with. These guidelines should give you a good idea of how to tell a voodoo zombie from a true zombie. One final note: voodoo zombies are almost always encountered in sub-Saharan Africa, the Caribbean, Central and South America, and southern United States. Although it is not impossible to find someone who has been turned into a zombie by a Hungan elsewhere, the chances of such an encounter are slim. Voodoo zombies. Interesting. Interesting. The Hollywood zombie is what we're talking about next, but I really, maybe I missed it and I just was not paying attention. I want to know, what does the voodoo zombie do? Does it bite you, or does it dismember you or something? Hold on, might have been from one of the other previous. No, that's something else. It would be interesting to find out. I hope someone knows. That you could either comment it down below or do something else. I suppose. Point me in the direction of a movie. We may even find out. The Hollywood zombie. That's what's next. Interesting. I've always wanted to see the Hollywood zombie. Alright, so. Since the living dead first stepped onto the silver screen, their greatest enemy has not been hunters, but critics. Scholars, scientists, even concerned citizens have all argued that these movies depict the living dead in a fantastic, unrealistic fashion. Visually stunning weapons, physically impossible action sequences, larger than life human characters, and above all, magical, invincible, even comical ghouls have added their colours to the controversial rainbow that is the zombie movie. Further criticisms argue that this style over substance approach to somnambulist cinema teaches human viewers lessons that may get them killed in a real encounter. We're all a little guilty of that. We all picture ourselves as the hero, so to speak, which I know I do, which might get me killed. But luckily, no outbreaks recently. These serious charges demand an equally serious defense. While some zombie movies are based on actual events, I love that they've got the citation next to that. I wonder if it's the Great Outbreak of '57 that they're talking about. Yes, I do know that there was the Vietnam veteran named Bill that was in that. Their goal, indeed the goal of almost every movie in every genre, has always been first and foremost to entertain, unless we are discussing pure documentaries, and even some of those are sweetened. Movie makers must take some artistic license to make their work more palatable to the audience. Even movies that are based on actual events will sacrifice pure reality for good storytelling. Certain characters will be an amalgam of real-life individuals. Others may be purely fictional in order to explain certain facts, facilitate the plotline, or simply add flavour to the scene. One might argue that the role of the artist is to challenge, educate, and enlighten her audience. That may be true, but try imparting knowledge to an audience who has either left or fallen asleep within the first 10 minutes of the picture. Accept this basic rule of movie making and you will understand why Hollywood zombie films stray, in some cases wildly, from the reality on which they are based. In short, use these photoplays as their markers intended, as a source of temporary, light-hearted entertainment, and not a visual aid in your survival. Ooh, we are onto a most perilous title now. Outbreaks. Although each zombie attack is different, given the number, terrain, reaction, and of the general populace, etc., its level of intensity can be measured in 4 distinct classes. At the behest of the filmmakers and or their estates, the titles of those movies based on true life stories have now been omitted. Class 1. This is a low-level outbreak, usually in a third world country or first world rural area. The number of zombies in this class of outbreak ranges between 1 and 20. Total human casualties, including those infected, range from 1 to 50. The total duration from the first case to the last, unknown, will range between 24 hours and 14 days. The infested area will be small, no larger than 20-mile radius. In many cases, natural boundaries will determine its limits. The response will be light, either exclusively civilian or with some additional help from local law enforcement. Media coverage will be light, if present at all. I'll be on the ground there, don't worry. I certainly will. If the media is present, look for common stories like homicides or accidents. This is the most common type of outbreak and also the easiest to go unnoticed. Well, that's actually an interesting surveillance, so to speak, of what could possibly happen that people could confuse things for. Class 2. Urban or densely populated rural areas are included in this level of outbreak. Total zombies will range between 20 and 100. Total human casualties may reach as high as several hundred. The duration of the Class 2 attack may last no longer than a Class 1 outbreak. In some cases, the larger number of zombies will spark a more immediate response. A rural, sparsely populated outbreak may extend to a 100-mile radius, while an urban outbreak may encompass only several blocks. Suppression will almost certainly be organized. Bands of civilians will be replaced by local, state, even federal law enforcement. Look for an individual, if low-level military response, the National Guard in the United States or its equivalent abroad. Most often, so as to ease panic, these units will take a more non-combative role, providing medical assistance, crowd control, and logistical support. Class 2 outbreaks almost always attract the press, unless the attack occurs in a truly isolated area of the world, or one where the media is strictly controlled. The story will be reported. This does not mean, however, that it will be reported accurately. You can always get the best from Chet. Don't worry, I won't ever stop. Class 3. A true crisis. Class 3 outbreaks, more than any other, demonstrate the clear threat posed by the living dead. Zombies will number in the thousands, encompassing an area of several hundred miles. The duration of the attack and the possible lengthy mop-up process could last as long as several months. There will be no chance for a press blackout or cover-up. Even without media attention, the sheer magnitude of the attack will leave too many eyewitnesses. This is a full-blown battle, with law enforcement replaced by units of the regular military. A state of emergency will be declared for the infested zone, as well as the neighbouring areas. Expected martial law, restricted travel, ration supplies, federalized services, and strictly monitored communication. All these measures, however, will take time to implement. The initial phase will be one of chaos as those in power come to grips with the crisis. Riots, looting, and widespread panic will add to their difficulties, further delaying an effective response. While this is happening, those living within the infested area will be at the mercy of the undead, isolated, abandoned, and surrounded by ghouls. They will have only themselves to depend on. Oof. What a horrifying time. Class 4. See Living in an Undead World. Pages 154 to 81. Oh, that will be dark times. Dark times ahead indeed. Detection. Every undead outbreak, regardless of its class, has a beginning. Now that the enemy has been defined, the next step is early warning. Knowing what a zombie is will not help if you are unable to recognize an outbreak before it's too late. This does not entail building a zombie command post in your basement, sticking pins in a map, and huddling around the shortwave radio. All it requires is looking for signs that would slip by the untrained mind. This is the rough stuff we get into, the thing that really breeds the heroes. These signs include: number 1, homicides in which the victims were executed by headshots or decapitation. It has happened many times. People recognize an outbreak for what it is and try to take matters into their own hands. Almost always, these people are declared murderers by the local authorities and prosecuted as such. Now that would be quite a terrifying time, I believe. Number 2, missing persons, particularly in the wilderness or uninhabited areas. Pay careful attention if one or more of the search members end up missing. If the story is televised or photographed, watch to see what level of armament the search party carries. Any more than one rifle per group could mean that this is more than just a simple rescue operation. I mean, that makes sense. What are they preparing for? Well, I suppose, depending on where they are, it could be bears, could be other things like that. So, yeah. Number 3, cases of violent insanity, in which the subject attacked friends or family without the use of weapons. Find out if the attacker bit or tried to bite his victims. If so, are any of the victims still in hospital? Try to discover if any of these victims mysteriously died within days of their bite. Riots or other civil disturbances that began without provocation or other logical cause. Common sense will dictate that violence on any group level does not simply occur without a catalyst, such as a racial tension, political actions, or legal decisions. Even so-called mass hysteria can always be traced to a root source. If none can be found, the answer may lie elsewhere. Number 5, disease-based deaths, in which either the cause is undermined or simply highly suspect. Deaths from infectious disease are rare in the industrialized world compared to a century ago. For this reason, new outbreaks always make the news. Look for those cases in which the exact nature of the disease is unexplained, Also, be on the alert for suspicious explanations such as West Nile virus or mad cow disease. Either could be examples of a cover up. Yeah, I would agree in a lot of senses. Any of the above in which media coverage was forbidden, a total press blackout. Oh, sorry, we're on 6. Any of the above in which media coverage was forbidden, a total press blackout is rare in the United States. Yeah, maybe. The occurrence of one should be regarded as an immediate red flag. Of course, there may be many reasons other than an attack of the living dead. Then again, any event causing a government as media conscious as our own to clamp down it merits close attention. Sorry, tongue tied. The truth, no matter what it is, cannot be good. Once an event has tripped your senses, keep track of it. Note the location and its distance from you. Watch for similar incidents around or near the original site. If within a few days or weeks these incidents do occur, study them carefully. Note the response of law enforcement and other government agencies. If they react more forcefully with each occurrence, chances are an outbreak is unfolding. I wonder if this has happened to any of you. I don't believe I live in a zone that has been affected by one of these outbreaks. As I said, there was an outbreak in '57, but I wasn't alive then. So, you know, um, weapons and combat techniques. At least 15 or 20 of them, men, women, children. This is a Serbian mercenary during the Serbian Civil War 1994. At least 15 or 20 of them, men, women, children, we opened up at 70, maybe 80 meters. I could see chunks of flesh blasting off their bodies. Our rounds were hitting their mark. They kept coming. They just kept coming. I sighted one and let go a full burst from my BXP. I know I snapped his spine because the man dropped like a leaf, legs still twitching. He kept crawling after me. At 20 meters we opened up with a vector. Nothing. I watched bits of organ and bone blow out their backs. I watched limbs literally sawed off at the joints. The SS-77 is the best MG ever made. 840 meters per second, 800 rounds per minute, and it wasn't doing a goddamn thing. What grenades we had only downed one of them. One. His mangled body lay motionless with a still snapping head. Name withheld. Let go with his RPG. The damn rocket went right through its soft target and took out a rock behind it. Finally, at 5 meters, we used the last bit of fuel in the flamethrowers. The sons of bitches lit up like torches but just wouldn't stop. One of them grabbed, name withheld, setting him on fire as it bit through his neck. I saw the rest of those things surround him as we took off for the jungle. A mob of burning bodies squatting down to tear another screaming human torch apart. Goddamn the devil's mother. What the hell were we supposed to do? Again, that's a Serbian mercenary during the Serbian Civil War of 1994. Wow. Yeah. So yeah, this is weapon and combat techniques that we're on now, and that's quite a gripping opening. So yeah, wow, interesting. Well, what we'll do, we'll leave it there for the time being. My throat is quite coarse from some recent sickness, and I would like to thank a few of the commenters that gave me a little bit of a kick in the rear end to get narrating again, so to speak. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've done it from my computer, so the audio should sound a bit different. We'll call it there for now, but I will certainly be uploading at a quicker pace for you all. Yes, thank you for sticking by, and thank you for subscribing. If you could like and subscribe, it would really, really help me out a lot. And I will hopefully be uploading a lot more. There'll be car things as well as the book reading. Yeah, what a wonderful time. Thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to read some more for you all again.